Hello, 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 and welcome to Monday night. So exciting. It's time for the weekly message from Spirit and time for us to see what it is that Spirit would like to tell us tonight, yeah? See what's going on for us. So come on board and let's see what's going to happen tonight. So as always, Mondays have rolled around again, and here we find ourselves ready to see what is in store for us this week. Okie dokie. So we're going to start off with the crystal for the week and seeing which crystal has presented itself. And then we'll do the weekly message, which will get messages from my guides, which is a universal message for everybody. And then I'll do some personal readings. We'll see what it is that Spirit wants to talk to us about tonight. Very exciting. So the crystal that's come forward this week is it kind of falls within a range of crystals that they're showing that we can talk about it. Thank you so much, Tiffany. So the crystal that came forward is obsidian. So you can see this is a piece of obsidian, black obsidian. And this kind of fits in the realm of what we can call the sort of transmutation stones, the stones, all these black stones. So tourmaline, obsidian, jet is one of them. There's another one that I'm missing. I don't know, it'll come to me now. But the beauty of obsidian is it's like it's a stone of alchemy. So what this does is it's often spoken about as protection stone. Protection is a very interesting energy because whenever you're walking around protecting yourself, you're actually emitting fear. And so we rather want to be able to seal off our energy fields and look at how we can transform energy. And this is like a stone that helps us transform. So it acts as a buffer is the best way for me to explain it. So energy comes towards us, and what happens is this crystal absorbs that energy, transforms it, and emits it back. So it acts as like a buffer. So it takes away anything that no longer serves us, and it transforms it. The important part of this is it's not repelling it, it's transforming it. When we can understand this is an energy, it's asking us to look at what do we need to embrace so we can transform. Because we can alchemize things, we can take something and transform it and make it into something different. So light always transforms everything. Love transforms everything. So what in your life needs more transformation? Needs more love, needs more light. Because whenever we bring love and light to anything, it just transforms it. Right, so with that in mind, it's going to be interesting to see what the guides bring forward as the message for the week and what the spirit message is for the week. So we're going to start off there and call forward my guides and ask them to bring forward what are the messages that everybody needs to pay attention to this week? What do we need to become aware of? And so as always, I'm going to do 3 cards for all of us. And this is a message that serves the highest good for anybody who comes across this video now or any time in the future. And it really is, the 3 cards are, what do we need to pay attention to this week? What support is available for us this week? And then what opportunities exist for us this week? So let us start off with that. Right. Today's been a real roundabout day. Has anybody else found that? It's like nothing has gone according to plan. Like it's been a day that has unfolded all by itself, and everything has worked back to front, if you ask me. Yeah. All right, let us see. So there we have the 3 cards. Perfect. So the card, what do we need to pay attention to this week? And the card that's come forward here is it's safe for you to receive. It is safe for you to receive. Now, there's a phenomenally good book called Just Ask. I think it's called Just Ask, or it's Ask, something like that. And it's about a woman who she really crowdfunded her entire music career, and she did the entire thing not by going through a recording house, but crowdfunding it. And she went on tour, and she would use her fans to fund her, to transport her, to house her, to set her up, to do all these things. And so her entire principle was that she would ask for whatever she needed and somebody would give it to her. And when we start to think about this principle of just ask for what you want, asking is a very, very vulnerable energy. It seems to be one of the most difficult things that people, well, many of us, not necessarily everybody, but it's a really, really difficult thing to say, what do you need, and just ask for it. And when it comes to the law of abundance, when you look at the course that I ran called, healing your relationship with money, working with the law of abundance, one of the core abundance principles that the divine brings forward is like, well, you haven't asked. You haven't asked for what you want. You've asked for what you don't want. You've asked for what you think so you could have. But what do you want? And learning to ask and trust that you will receive it, and then allow yourself to receive it. That is the key word, is do you allow yourself to receive? Without the bind of guilt, without the obligation of repayment. Because if I ask for something and I receive it, and then I continuously try and repay it, I'm not really in a receptive state, am I? One of the divine laws about giving and receiving is to give what we have and receive what we need. And that's why we have this beautiful picture of the tree. Is the tree receives everything it needs from earth and from the sunlight, and it receives everything. It opens itself up and it receives it, and with that it grows stronger and it becomes able to do what it's here to do, and that's to provide strength, to provide what it needs to the earth, to provide homes for the birds, provide stability, provide rooting for the ground. And all these things is that it allows itself to receive. So the core principle when we look at this week, they're saying is the thing that we need to pay attention to is, what do you need and are you asking for it? Not necessarily from the divine, but from anywhere. And if you're asking, are you allowing yourself to receive? So when someone offers you something, do you say, yes, please? Thank you for offering. Somebody offers you help, somebody offers you lunch, and this is when we bring in this obsidian stone. This thing is transmuting. It's allowing ourselves to step into the vulnerability of receiving, because it is a receiving. It is vulnerable to receive, but to notice that that's where our power comes from. If you're somebody who loves to give to other people, loves to give guidance, loves to give advice, loves to give help, loves to give gifts, loves to give love, whatever it is that you love giving. Imagine if nobody received it from you. So we actually do a disservice when somebody wants to give us something and we don't allow ourselves to receive. I saw a beautiful message the other day, and it was so well described, is that everything you get comes from the hands of someone else. The whole unity of life is about the flow of giving and receiving. What I have, I give. What I create, I give. All the food we eat, somebody has been giving that over. The farmers give it to the supermarkets. Everything we receive comes from somewhere, and then we can transform it and give it on. And so the flow of life is dependent on receiving, not necessarily on giving. Because if there's 100 givers in the world and nobody wants to receive it, we're not going to have a flow. So what do you need to receive this week? What do you need to receive to be able to be an instrumental part of the flow of life? What do you need to receive so that your life starts to flow in a different way? So that's what we need to pay attention to this week. And you can see the infinity symbol there. So this is all about abundance and allowing things to flow as it is. So you see how this crystal falls into this. The card of what support is available to us this week is, it's time to give up. Time to give up. So, are you being too stubborn? Are you being too difficult? What is it that you need to give up? Maybe you're too independent. Maybe you're living in a world of thinking you need to do everything yourself. Maybe you're attached to certain things that you actually need to release so that it can flow. So the entire message this week is about flow and looking for where in your life is there stagnation. Where are things stagnant? And if something's stagnant, it's because we've broken the flow of giving and receiving. And if we only on one side and not on the other, then we are going to be out of balance. And some of you have heard me talk about this before. This metaphor is one that the guys love using, is that if we look at giving and receiving as a balancing act, as a way of things being in harmony, of a way of creating flow, imagine one is the left side of your body and the other one's the right side of your body. And imagine you go to gym for a year or 2 or even 3 or 4 and you only exercise the one side of your body. Let's imagine you only exercise the right side of your body. You only ever exercise that side of your body, but the other side you don't. It's going to go out of balance, isn't it? And it doesn't matter how strong the one side is. If the other side isn't as strong, we're not going to be able to move easily, to flow. So anything that is stagnant in your life, anything that is not flowing in your life, there's an out of balance of giving and receiving. And what do you need to give up on so things can start to flow again? Yeah? Maybe you need to give up on control. Maybe you need to give up on the idea that you want things to be a certain way. Whatever it is that you need to give up on. And giving up is an interesting energy because we're taught not to give up. But actually, sometimes we're holding on to things that just do not serve us. And we can see they become almost this barbed wire fence as opposed to the freedom that we are seeking. So where is this stagnation in your life and what do you need to give up? And again, we're going to see how that aligns with this obsidian crystal that allows us to alchemize things, transform things. Yeah, you know the definition of insanity. You've heard this. It's beautiful. Doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. So if we're looking at this balancing of giving and receiving, where are you too dominant and where do you need to balance it out? So the card of the opportunity that exists this week, and it's going to sound like a weird card for us to bring up now at this point, is let yourself feel the pain. Yeah. People don't always like this card. My cards are all nice, see. All the cards are beautiful cards and all the cards serve. But the card of the opportunity for this week, when we have a look at it's safe for you to receive, it's time to give up, let yourself feel the pain, is the opportunity for this week. Now, the way they're talking about this is that pain in this instant is referring to discomfort. What's uncomfortable for you to do? What's not easy? Yeah, again, I was just talking about this definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting the different results. So sometimes we need to find a new way of doing things, do something different in our life. And to do something different, it is going to feel uncomfortable, awkward, difficult. And we may need to notice that our current behavior has been a coping mechanism to hide away from something. And so as we do something different, something gets exposed and we may need to have a look at what it is that's going on there so that we can reprogram ourselves to do new things, to do something different. And obsidian is the crystal that really just helps us work with this alchemical process, this process of letting things evolve and transform. So the guides are quite playful with this. They're saying, again, look at what's stuck in your life. Where is it out of balance, the giving and receiving? Can you let yourself receive more and let things go? And then it's going to highlight what it is that you may need to face, that you've been hiding away from. And all of this allows you to heal and grow so that you can expand into your full potential. So there you have it. How cool is that? Now, and so let us see. So we're going to start doing some readings. If you'd like a reading, just ask for, if you want it around a specific topic or a specific question, you can name that. Otherwise, your guides will come forward and give you a general reading. You can try and get through as many people as possible. So let's see who would like a reading. Stephen, let's start with you. Stephen, let's see what your guides would like to tell you tonight, love. Right. This was a card of last week. So, play. Play. So, Stephen, the way your guides are coming forward is they're giving me the metaphor of cricket, and I'm not sure why, but given this card play, they often bring in some sort of metaphor around there. And so the message around cricket, they're saying, is that when you form a team, if we look at a cricket team, and they're very specifically using cricket, I'm not sure why, that's a metaphor, and I hope it resonates for you, but that's the message they're giving me, is that if we look at a team of cricketers, there's different roles that we play. We have the batsmen, we have the bowlers, and then obviously everybody gets on the field to field. But even in the fielding thing, there's the wicketkeeper, there's the bowlers, and people in different positions, and that there's this idea of not all doing the same thing at the same time, really knowing the benefit of doing the part you're supposed to do in the team. And that's what makes it an effective game, is knowing the part you need to play. And if you try and be everything to everyone, you're not going to be able to find what it is that you're good at. So if I want to be the only batsman, if I want to be the best bowler, if I want to be everything to everyone, if I want to be in every part of the field, I'm not going to be able to differentiate myself. And they're saying you have this tendency to try and be everything to everyone. You want to be good at everything in a way. And sometimes it's about knowing which is the part that you're best at and letting yourself do what you're best at. So this is about finding your position in the team and letting yourself do that position really well. They're saying have a look at this idea of trying to do everything and trying to be everything for everyone, because that's something that it's stopping you from playing the game really well. I hope that makes sense for you, Stephen. Right, let us see who's next. Hello, Marie. Let us do a reading for you. They show me your name, so let's do one for you, my love. Right, let's see what your guides want to tell you. Okay. Marie, synchronicity, see the signs. So I laugh because we've been having some other conversations about what's going on. The important part here, thank you, Alida. I didn't even know the Cricket World Cup was starting on Thursday, but maybe that's why they're using it. Marie, the important part here is see the signs. So the synchronicity is the highlighted word on the card, but they're saying for you the important part of these words is see, S-E-E-C, the signs. This is really about allowing yourself to trust what you're starting to feel, trust what you're starting to notice, trust what you're starting to notice and starting to experience. So I know that you've been on Lifting the Veil, and there's a lot that's happened the last weekend for you, and so they're very much aligning with that sort of energy of like things. There's a waking up process that's happening for you, and you're waking up to seeing what you need to see and facing what you need to face, and dealing with what you need to deal with, if this makes sense, and just allowing yourself to trust that process and to pay attention to it and let yourself receive whatever you need in that process. Let me just see here. Your female guide, she's come forward, and the way she's talking to me is she's got a magnifying glass. So she's sitting, those magnifying glass that we sit in, it's like a looking glass, you look through it and it makes things bigger. She brings forward this magnifying glass, and she says, one of the things that's quite useful is when a magnifying glass, if we look through it, we can start to see things and it gets bigger, and so we can pay attention to it. But the challenge with that is that we could become quite narrow-minded. We can focus on something quite small and miss out on the other things, and this can become quite quite an obsessive sort of process, and we could miss out on things. So she's bringing the message of synchronicity, see the signs, pay attention to what's coming up for you, but make sure you don't get too narrow, too almost over analytical, too obsessive about focusing on one thing. Remain quite open, remain quite able to see many different things, and just it's like a process of just seeing, just letting yourself see, and don't analyze, don't obsess about it right now. So there you go, Hamry. Hope that makes sense for you, my love. Right, let us see who is next. Taryn Lawson. Let us see what your guides would like to tell you tonight. Right, Taryn. Okay, Taryn. Coping is not the same as healing. Coping is not the same as healing. All right, Tamara, let's see the way your guides want to talk to you about this. First off, your male guide comes forward and he has this, he's come forward with this, he's like drumming. So he's got this drum. I think of being in sort of a band, and the drummer that walks like a marching band, and he comes forward like he's part of a marching band. I don't see the rest of the marching band, but he comes forward like he's part of it, and he's got the drum, and he's like beating this drum, and as he's beating this drum, he's finding the rhythm, he's creating the music, he's doing all these things. But quite importantly, what I get is that the rest of the band is not with him. The rest of the marching band's not there. So it doesn't matter how good he is. If he's not with the rest of the band, then it doesn't matter how good a drum his drum beating is. It's not contributing to something bigger. Your guides show me there's a tendency for you to participate in life with others, but not to get involved. It's like you keep yourself a little bit separate from being involved with others, and letting yourself contribute to the broader song or the broader music. And it's like, how do you get involved in the band, in the band of life? It's just a metaphor they're using, so it's not necessarily about the music per se, but it's noticing where you have this tendency to hold yourself a little bit separate and not get involved. You participate, but you don't get involved. And there's a difference between participating and being involved. Participating is I do the actions, I do what I need to do. Getting involved means I'm invested, I'm engaged, I'm intimate, I'm in the experience. And this is, it's like you can participate in an event, but you're not involved in the event. They keep showing me like being at a swimming party, but you're not in the swimming pool. And so there's this message of notice that pattern for yourself, that the coping mechanism you've created is to start participating in life, but you're not getting involved in things. And the beauty of getting involved means that there's so much more connection and so much more intimacy. This is coming from a place of pain. There's a wound, there's something that has happened for you, a mistrust that keeps you quite separate from it, but this is something that they're offering you a perspective to heal. So they're saying, go and get involved. Go and get involved. Get involved in something, in anything. It could be in a fun club, it could be in your relationship, it could be in something, but get involved. Get involved, they're saying. Right, I hope that makes sense for you, my sweetheart. Right, Melissa Johnson. Let us see what your guides would like to tell you tonight, Melissa. All right, let's see for Melissa. Right, Melissa. Oh no. Okay, they are saying I have to do it. I'm saying I have to. You've got the same card, Melissa. Coping is not the same as healing. So you can see that the guides are really bringing forward some specific messages when we're looking at this, healing these patterns in our lives and the things that are stuck. And Melissa, I have somebody coming forward that's crossed over. So I'm not sure if there's somebody, if you've been experiencing somebody who's crossed over. I'm not sure it's recent. There seems to be a female figure coming forward that wants to connect with you, and it's around this card. Is there somebody coming up for you, somebody that's crossed that you're close to? It seems to be a female figure. So I'm just going to see if somebody comes up for you, Melissa. Yeah, there seems to be. Let's just see, Melissa, if you could answer me if you're there, that would be great. It's a female. It's a female coming forward. Let's just see if Melissa's there. Because it seems to be that there's something that this card relates to somebody crossing over for you, to you losing somebody. Okay, all right, so, okay, it's a female figure. It is your aunt that's coming forward. She, because it was she was related to you, but it wasn't a motherly figure. So it's definitely your aunt that's coming forward. She comes forward and she's holding a bouquet of roses. She's got these roses in front of her. She's like holding them. It's not a bouquet of one color roses. She's got a bouquet of many colored roses. So it seems to be like red and orange and pink and yellow, white roses. So very multicolored roses I've got in here. And so the message that's coming forward for her is very much about sending you love. Roses are all about love, but there's this very different kinds of love. So if we think of roses and rose petals and rose colors, red roses obviously often mean love and passion, but yellow roses are friendship, white roses are peace, pink roses are sort of a sense of feminine nurturing, this sort of thing. She's got all these roses. She's got this sort of bunch of roses, and she wants me to give them to you, to say that you are so surrounded by love, and you've got so much love in your life. It's just, you've got so many friends, so many aspects to you, but you're keeping yourself quite separate from receiving all the love that is being available to you. It seems to be that she's coming forward about your husband. I'm not sure if that makes sense. So she's coming forward to give you a message about opening your heart to love. It's not that your husband's not stepping forward. He's just hanging back, and your aunt's the one bringing forward the message for you tonight. There's a bunch of roses for you. They're saying that's what I must leave it as. There's this bunch of roses for you. You're so loved, Melissa. You're so loved. There's so many people that are loving and supporting you. I hope that makes sense to you, my darling. Really, really, I can't describe how much love is pouring out towards you at this point in time. It's quite moving, really. All right, Sarati, let us see what your guides would like to tell you, my darling. All right, Sarati, let's see what your guides would like to tell you. And then I'll get to as many people as I can. So just keep asking. Sarati, your past does not define your future. Turn and face your future. Your past does not define you. They're wanting to shift the message to your past does not define your future. If we had to shift the message slightly. So if we have a look at this card, we can see that there's this beautiful sort of landscape of possibility. There's this, we can drive off and we can go into these beautiful mountains and explore it and do whatever we want today. But we've got this little sort of rear view mirror here, and we can look at where we've come from. And if you have a look at the perspective of the card, the future is a lot bigger than the past. The possibilities of what we can explore and where we can go is so much more amazing. Now, if you imagine driving a car and if you imagine you've got this beautiful beautiful windscreen and you're looking out towards where you're going to, and you've got these tiny little rear view mirrors that we must check in. Imagine just looking in the rear view mirror all the time. It gets kind of dangerous and we go off track. And so the ability to learn from the past and say, okay, that's what has been my experience. I don't need to keep obsessing about it. I don't need to keep it in mind all the time, because that's how we recreate it. And so what has the past offered you is a wonderful perspective, but not something to fear. Many of us do this. We have sort of like a relationship that's gone wrong, and then we live in fear of all relationships going wrong. And in this way, we end up portraying the same energy and recreating it over and over again. So allowing ourselves to almost just notice, receive it, and move on. It's time to move into the future. You've got an amazing future ahead of you. And so what's possible? What's possible? What's allowing you to move forward? Yeah, time to take a step, my darling. It's time to take a step and move forward. Right, let us see. I was wondering where's Melissa, will you let me know if that resonated for you at all? Because your aunt's not leaving me alone yet. So let me know if there's something. Michelle Gunter, pleasure, Sarati. Michelle Gunter, it's such an uncertain time for me at the moment, full of opportunity, but also lots of stress regarding work, moving house, etc. Do my guides have a message for me? Clearly, they do, because I chose you. So let us see. I saw lots of other messages coming forward there, so just all hang on. I'm going to try and get to as many of you as possible. Oh dear, these guys are playing with us tonight. All right. The card that's come forward for you, Michelle, is a card we've already seen tonight. Synchronicity, see the signs. Synchronicity, see the signs. Your female guide is she's laughing. She's just laughing, and when they come for laughing, they it really is a sign of fun more than anything. So it's not laughing at anybody, but it's bringing forward a sort of lightheartedness, and it's about like lightening up about what's going on. The synchronicity, the signs, is like she keeps telling me, you keep asking for validation, you keep asking for support, you keep asking for guidance, asking for help, but then you get so busy that you don't pay attention or don't notice the support and the help that is being sent your way. They drop in this memory into my mind, and so I'll share it in the way they're showing it, and we can see how that resonates for you. There was a woman who was sitting on a course, and she very desperately wanted to, or she was sitting in a group, and she very desperately wanted to go on a course, and she couldn't afford it. And she was sitting in this group, and she was telling the group about how she would really, really, really love to go on this course, but she just doesn't have the funding, and she can't afford it, and so on and so forth. And she's been praying, and she's been asking, and she really, really trusts that if she's supposed to go, she will be able to go, etc., etc. And in the next breath, a woman 2 seats away from her said, I would like to sponsor that training for you. I'm willing to pay for you. And in that moment, she turned to her and said, oh, I can't do that. That would be, I have to do it myself. And so the offer just deflated. The offer just went away. And what's really interesting is that she's been praying, she's been asking, she's been noticing, and then somebody offers, and in that minute, she goes, no. Yeah, and this is an obsession we have. So we think about the overall messages of how things should happen, and we want things to happen in a certain way. And so when it doesn't happen in the way we want it to happen, we dismiss it. and rather than receiving what it is that we've been asking for. And so to receive it, we need to be open to receive it in the way it's given, not in the way we think it should be. And it seems like, Michelle, that there's a similarity that's going on. There's this part of you that's asking for a lot of support and validation, and it is being offered, but it's not coming in the form that you think it should be. And so you have this tendency to dismiss it. So notice that, see where you could open up to receiving more of what's been given to you along the way. Yeah? So I hope that that makes sense for you, my darling. All right, Angela, let us see, my love. Lovely messages tonight. Any guidance for me specifically around what in my past I need to give up? I've worked with all the obvious stuff and I still feel there's something I'm holding on to. All right, let us see. I'm glad, Michelle. Perfect. Angela, approach with lightness. So this comes in there is only love suit, which has got the Merkaba. The Merkaba you will know very well as a sacred geometry symbol because you've done the sacred geometry course and you know all about the sort of light body spirit of the Merkaba. And the card that's come forward is approach with lightness. The way your guides are coming forward is they're saying you are making this a lot of work. So you're almost trying very hard to do something, and almost like working very hard, Ange. Just working very, very hard at this, and that working hard is the thing you need to let go of. Is how do you allow things to move? How do you allow things to move through you? How do you let life move through you? Let life flow. So a lot around the earlier messages, if you weren't here for the beginning, go and listen to the messages for the week in terms of looking at anything that's stuck and asking yourself, where am I out of balance in the giving and receiving ratio of life, of bringing that harmony and letting myself flow into that and work with that. And so it's a lot about letting things move, letting things flow rather than trying to make things move, make things flow. It's a counter energy to make something move. And they keep giving me this. I'm not sure if I know that you've got some stuff going on physically, so they keep showing like this physical movement through your body is allowing it. And there's quite a tension that exists within your physical system because there's almost this trying to do something rather than asking what does it need and allowing it. So you don't need to let go of anything, so to speak. It's so much more about opening up and expanding and softening and allowing and letting things move, letting things flow. That's a much bigger part of the energy of what's coming forward for you, Ange, tonight. Lighten up. Breathe more, play more, relax more, lighten, lighten, lighten. Physically send light to wherever it is that you feel that you are needing to lighten up. Right, so I hope that resonates for you, my love. Jackie Holmes, let us see what your guides would like to tell you. Oh, pleasure, Anne. I'm glad you're laughing. Right, so if you're still here and you want a reading, you come on board. Okay. Oh, the cards are all the same tonight. So clearly the guides are like, okay, we're dealing with some very specific patterns and we're needing to deal with these. So Jackie, the message has come forward for you is coping is not the same as healing. We've had this card 3 times tonight. Jackie, the way your guides are coming forward is... So I'm going to check here that I'm not confusing you with a lot of stress and curveballs lately. All right. So, Jackie, the way your guides are talking about this, and you'll see that this comes from the suit of integration. So we've got the yin yang symbol here, and if we look at the yin yang symbol, it's a lot about this harmony, about things being in balance. So we can look at things like day and night, rest and work. And getting some balance in our lives and allowing things to be flowing in balance. So flow seems to be the message of the night. It's the key word that keeps being spoken about, is letting things flow. For you specifically, Jackie, there seems to be an out of balance between your masculine and feminine energies. And so when we look at the coping is not the same as healing, something's gone on where you've stepped into quite a lot of masculine energy. Masculine energy's got a lot to do with making things work the way you want them to work, dominating things, being independent, being in control, whereas the feminine energies are more about receptivity, allowance, serenity, intuition, nurturing, etc., etc. And this is out of balance, it's out of whack. And the coping mechanism of making things work the way you want them to work it's a beautiful skill, but it needs to be in balance with this receptivity. So again, this energy of the sort of, it's safe for you to receive if you listen to the beginning of the reading. It's noticing where you have a resistance to being more in the feminine energy and allowing yourself. Now, this is not in the sexual sense, this is not in the sort of physical sense of the way you look, but it's definitely more in the sense of the energy of gentleness, the energy of softness. The power of the feminine is in softness. Now, the power of the masculine is in hardness. Balancing soft and hard, meaning action and receptivity, meaning rest and work, meaning all these things that we bring into balance are really, really important for your system to be in a state of peace. So there you go. I hope that makes sense for you, my love. Right. Okay. Aniki van Nikak. My mum passed, my dad, brother, please. So I just want to check. Your mum, your dad, and your brother passed. Wow. Okay, I'm so sorry for all the loss. So your mum, your dad, and your brother all passed. So let's see if there's a message that comes forward for you. Okay, the message has come forward. Good, I'm glad, Jackie. So, Aniki, the message come forward is detach from anything holding you back. Detach from anything holding you back. Now, you've specifically referenced that your mom, your dad, and your brother have passed, and you would like a message from them. And the message that they are giving you is detach from anything holding you back. Now, when we look at this message, and it's not going to seem very comforting in the initial side of the message, but if you allow them to speak through you. So I mean, your dad is actually the one that is stepping forward. Your mom and your brother are with him, and they kind of step forward as I can't say as a unit, because there's some dynamics, particularly between your brother and your dad, that means that they're not really always on the same page, so to speak. And your mom is kind of resonating in the background a little bit more. She sends you a lot of love, and she sends you a lot of comfort at this point in time. But the message that they're all bringing forward is that it is okay for you to continue with your life. It's okay for you to move on. And moving on doesn't mean forgetting. Moving on doesn't mean not honoring them. Moving on means you have life to live. And one of the things is embracing life. When we have people that cross over, they're saying, you know, we get such a strong sort of sense of sometimes we feel guilty about living, so to speak, or we feel like we're stuck, and we need to stay stuck in this place of grief and life start to learn how to work together, and it is a process, and it's something you can work very gently with and get all the love and the healing and support you need. But what they are giving you is that you can live. You can live. They want you to live. They want you to enjoy your life. They want you to enjoy your life, to do all that they can't do anymore, to explore and to laugh and to play and to love and to do all the things that the physical body allows you to do. They're saying, please, will you let yourself live and detach from not living, I suppose would be the best way I can describe it. So I hope that makes sense for you, Aniki, my darling. Sending you so much love. Let me know if you need anything. Right. All right, let us see. Alida, how you doing, Alida? Let us see what your guides would like to tell you. Let us see what your guides would like to tell you, my darling. All right, Alida. Allow your life to unfold. Allow your life to unfold. So the beauty of these dandelions, if we have a look at the dandelion sort of flowers, these flowers here, is it's got this certain resonance with magic, like fairies. You blow the dandelion and it all floats away. And there's a certain sense of like just joy as it just makes its way into the world and decides where it's going to land and what it will become and what it will do and whether it will germinate, when it won't, but because let it go where it needs to go. And sometimes it can be a beautiful way of exploring our lives. Is like the curiosity of where's my life going is sometimes so exciting and rewarding, as opposed to my life should be going this way. And so this question of where could I be, where could my life be expanding to, what is possible, what is opening up to me, what am I exploring? And it's getting curious about your life rather than analytical about your life, and allowing you to step into that playful curiosity about your life and seeing it seems to me like you're standing at the edge of possibility, like at the edge of the doorway, of opening up into all sorts of things that could be new and interesting and exciting for you, but your need to understand or know or control or whatever it is stops you from just letting it unfold. Just see, just notice, just pay attention. This is not a place of inaction. It is definitely a place of taking the step and acting on your intuition and your inspiration, but you know that, and you need to keep doing that. So there you go. Nasia D, let us see what your guides would like to tell you tonight, Nasia. I know you're scared, Alida. I know, but it's exciting. There's possibility. One of the things that's really interesting, they've done a lot of scientific studies, is that the physical body, if we have a look at the sort of what happens in the physical body and the metabolism of the physical body, it's exactly the same response in the physical body between fear and excitement. Exactly the same. So that's why fear and excitement go hand in hand, and we learn how to work with them together. So allow your life to unfold. It's all good. All right, Nasia, let us see what your guides want to tell you. Raise your vibration. Raise your vibration. So this is a card about noticing what you are obsessing about, what you are paying attention to. Our vibration is it's the energy frequency that we resonate at, and the things that connect us to our frequency is the kind of continual things that we focus on, the way we speak to ourselves, and the sort of environment that we participate in. And for you in particular, there's a little bit of a process of what I call, how do you feed the beast? And feeding the beast is our mind. Our mind is the sponge, and it can focus on lots of things. Whatever we feed it, it focuses on. So if I'm feeding it lots and lots and lots of fearful stories and lots of news stories and lots of this, and this is about what you watch, what you read, who you spending time with, and these sorts of things, we feed the beast, and the beast starts to obsess about these things, and it starts to make us feel like crap, and then that's the energetic frequency that we put out into the world. And so we could feed our mind with lots of positive stuff, listening to amazing spiritual or feel good TED Talks or podcasts or music, or watching, if you need to watch TV that is enlightening and supportive and makes you feel good. You don't need to feed yourself with stuff that makes you feel terrible, because it's not useful. It's not useful. It lowers your frequency and holds you. And also who you're spending time with, who you believe, all these sorts of things. There's one way to know if you're doing things that are good for you. You feel lighter. You feel lighter. So this is about raising your vibration. It's about feeding the beast in such a way that it contributes towards you feeling lighter in your life. So just notice where something may be draining you and see if you can focus on that. Right, who is next? Crystal Schollard. Crystal, are you still with us, Crystal? Right, I'm still happy to do a few more readings. So if you still want readings, just ask. Crystal, any guidance for me? Yes, Crystal, I hope you're still around. Let's see if you're here. The card that's come forward for you, Crystal, is let your heart overflow with kindness. Let your heart overflow with kindness. All right, Crystal. Let me see what they're wanting to tell you tonight. They keep linking the word, and it's a very interesting card. They often play with this card in a number of ways, but they're linking this card to the word kinder, and kinder, the way they're showing it, is like childlike or children. And if we, they're showing me this image of children going on holiday, or children on the beach, or children at a park, something like that, and they just welcome everybody in. So there isn't this like, who's my friend, who's not my friend. It's just like, I run onto the park and I make best friends with whoever's there. And the reason that children can do this, they almost just have no barriers to entry, no barriers to connecting with other people, is because they're not fearing rejection, and they're not fearing any form of judgment. Children just don't do this. Once they start getting to the ages of 6, 7, 8, 9, then they start doing this. The minute they start being exposed to schooling, it kicks in. But before that, the ages of 3, 4, 5, there's like this playfulness, and just this, there's no barrier to entry, there's no barrier to connecting with others, and playing with them. And so the way that this message is coming forward for you is to notice the barriers you have to connecting with others. And I'm talking about connecting in a sort of way that allows you to feel like you are supported and loved and connected to them. And this is about noticing that mechanism and allowing yourself to receive friendship, I think, is the best thing they're wanting you to say. Like, there's this tendency of isolation or something, this tendency of withdrawing or holding yourself alone. And it's returning back to that of like, it's easier than you think, but you may need to put yourself out there and be kind to people and see what happens. You are kind, but you're not being kind to yourself and allowing yourself to just explore. So I hope that makes sense for you, my darling. Right, let us see who's next here. Oh, Anaki, I'm so sorry. I know that it must be very, very difficult. I'm glad, Michelle. So lovely for you to say that. All right, who's next? All right, Charlene, let's do a reading for you. Let's see what your guides would like to tell you, my darling. Okay, well, you can listen to it when you're ready, Nasia. It's there. Pleasure, Crystal. Charlene, I'm going to show you the card, and then they're telling me that you will get the message and you will know what I'm talking about. Let yourself feel the pain. So we were having a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about facing some of the stuff that's been coming up for you. And so they're saying that they're just going to give you this card. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, though, because you've already explored it a little, and you know what they're talking about, they're saying. So there you go. Let yourself face it. Let yourself feel it. And this was part of the original reading at the beginning of the thing. So you'll see there. Joel, let us see what your guides would like to tell you. How are you all the way from Australia, Joel? Let's see what your guides would like to tell you. Okay, Joel. Nasia, you can go and listen. The message is there, so it's not going to go anywhere. You can go and listen. And also, it gets put on YouTube tomorrow on my channel, so you can always go and subscribe to my channel, and then you can listen to the archives as well and go and receive guidance whenever you're feeling like it. All right, Joel, enjoy the present moment. Now, this comes from the suit of cards of the Merkaba, which is about there is only love. Yes, Charlene, short and sweet, because you know what it's about. So, Joel, enjoy the present moment. Yeah, the tendency to focus on the past and the future, we can obsess about them quite a lot, and that takes us away from our heart space. The mind always thinks about the past and the future. The heart is the only place that connects us to the current moment. And when we can sit in the heart space, we can connect to what is it that's going on now. And so sometimes that's why the power of breath helps us get into the present moment. It brings us down into our body. And so they're saying, have a look at ways to connect with your breath and to connect with your heart and to sit in what's going on now and to notice how much beauty is in your life, how much love is in your life, how much is going on now that is good for you. Now, there is no need to relive the past over and over and over and over again. It does not serve you in any way, shape, or form. Right, so there we have it. So that brings us to the end of the messages tonight. It's been lovely to connect with all of you. If you enjoy these readings and you find them valuable, please come join me next Monday. Tell your friends about it. And if you'd like to do a review on my page, that's always welcome and loved. Otherwise, have a look at my courses. I'd love to see some of you joining us. There's a brand new one called Healing Your Relationship with Time, which is all about mindfulness and getting into the present moment. So aligns with the last message of the day. So sending you lots of love. Namaste.